breaking down the biggest headlines of the week in Kardashian land. Hey everyone, welcome back to Shared News. Before we get into all of this week's Kardashian headlines, if you are new here, make sure you subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any updates. As always, I'm your host, Morgan Wright, joined today by the wonderful Allison Van Dam and Kayla Thompson. You guys, we're just gonna jump right in because there's a lot to get here. There always is a lot to get to with the Kardashians. There are so many of them. Everywhere I look, they're just all over the place. So let's start with headline number one. It was an exclusive this week, and that said, Kim Kardashian is ready to start dating again after her split from Pete Davidson. So a source told E! News that Kim has plenty of options, adding that all of her friends are constantly trying to set her up and that Kim has expressed she's ready to date, but it has to be the right person who understands her life. This is an interesting quote to get from a source because of the Pete breakup rumors as to why they split. We heard a lot of different things. You know, one thing was distance, but another thing that was making its rounds was that, you know, Pete was very spontaneous, spur of the moment, would want Kim to fly to New York on the drop of a dime, where Kim is like, I have 4 kids. I can't just up and leave LA. So do we think, Allison, we can just start with this. Do we think this was about Pete and his approach to their relationship? Or do we think it's really about anyone? Because not a lot of people can understand the Kardashian lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a weighted statement, like putting that in there. Like the source could have just said she's ready to date, but they chose to include the right person who understands her life. I think it's a combination of Pete could probably understand parts of her life because he's super famous. He's been on SNL for what, like 8 years. He's been in the public eye. He's been dating all these super famous women the past few years, so he can understand that side of it. But yeah, he is a decent amount younger than she is. He doesn't have his own kids. He's said in an interview that he wants to have kids, but he's not at that stage of life yet. So I think maybe it's a combination. Not only do they have to understand being in the public eye, but maybe it's saying she needs someone who can handle the scrutiny, the public eye, but maybe also has kids or is maybe a bit older and can understand that she has priorities in California. She can't live this like, you know, jet setter club going life that maybe someone who's younger and is single and doesn't have kids can. So I'm impressed that she's already ready to start dating again. There was so much backlash with the Kanye of it all. And I was shocked that they lasted as long as they did, given kind of what they were up against. But you know, maybe she could take one out of Chloe's book, that like, you know, private investor that was very much out of the public eye. Maybe she just needs someone really solid, someone who's not going to post on Instagram some random things and say that Skeet is dead at the age of 28. I just want like calm for Kim. Like that's the new hashtag, calm for Kim.
Yes. Calm with a K,
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
I mean, we do this every time that she's single too, but do you guys have anybody that you would think would be like the perfect match for Kim? Kayla, do you have anybody that comes to mind?
I don't know, but with all that Allison just said, I just think it should be someone older. Like Kim is like in her 40s now. Like we said, she has kids. So I feel like an older established like actor or like producer, like director of like you know, someone who's really kind of above it all maybe and is like, you know, out of the public eye, but like has a level of fame that they can understand her. But yeah, I don't know. No one like specific comes to mind. But someone like that, if that makes sense.
Well, whenever Kim Ye first split up, I mean, the first rumor that I remember of who Kim Kardashian was dating was Van Jones. Everybody was buzzing about political commentator. He is established. You know, she's trying to become a lawyer. That relationship would totally make sense. I never got over the Van Jones rumor. I wanted it to happen so bad. And then she dated Pete Davidson, which they're like, could not be further away from each other. So I'm still manifesting Kim and Van Jones. But aside from Kim, Scott Disick was also in the headlines for a couple of different reasons this week. We will actually get to all of them, but let's start with one report going around that he is in a new relationship with Kimberly Stewart, okay? Rod Stewart's daughter. So, a source exclusively tells Us Weekly that they've been dating for a few months, and the insider says they're really into each other, but not serious yet. They've been getting to know each other in a different way than seeing each other as friends because apparently they've known each other for quite a long time. So, not to automatically make this about age, but when it comes to Scott Disick, we have to make it about age. Kim Stewart is 43. Scott's last girlfriends have been 27, 21, and 24. And that's how old they are now. That's not how old they were when they were dating Scott. So is this a good sign for Scott? Allison, why don't you go first?
Yes, absolutely. Talk about someone who needs to put their clubbing days behind them. Like, he has 3 kids too. And I know he was always younger than Courtney. You know, he dealt with his issues with, alcohol and getting out of control. And he's not like that anymore. But yeah, he's matured. He's grown up. He has 3 kids that are all in school. Like, he needed to stop living this life of taking basically, these like teeny bopper influencers out on like yachts. Like, I think this is going to be so good for him. And I'm impressed. And I think this is like, I'm glad they're taking it slow because it's really not something Scott's probably used to. But I think this is the healthiest possible thing he could be doing. And I'm like, I maybe Kim will have some friends that she can introduce to Kim, some other people in their 40s. We'll just all start dating people who are in our age bracket and we'll call it a day.
Yeah. Kayla, do you think that seeing Courtney with Travis maybe got Scott to think about his dating life a little bit differently?
Yeah. I remember like back in the day when him and Courtney were still like a thing and pretty strong. Like, I remember Courtney's stance being like, I don't want to get married. I think that him seeing his ex, like, and the mother of his kids, like, really move on and be serious. And like, she's established she's in a marriage now. Like, maybe he did feel like, okay, let me get my life together. Stop with all the, as Allison said, teeny boppers and influencers and be serious, because it was very much giving like, just, I don't know, just lame. Like, you're that old taking out like young girls on yachts and stuff like that. It's just like, it's time to grow up, Scott. Like, let's go ahead and do that. So that's great. I'm glad that he's at least trying to, age up.
Yeah. And I mean, I really feel like I have a soft spot for Scott. I don't know why I do. Maybe it's just because, I grew up watching the Kardashians. But at a certain point, it's like you almost feel like maybe he was dating these younger women just as an escapism, because he's had issues with alcohol and partying. And maybe as he's getting, deeper into his life, it's not those vices that he turns to, but it's, these women that obviously when you're dating a 22-year-old, this is not going to be my serious lifelong relationship. It might, but it hasn't been when it comes to Scott Disick. So I feel like maybe seeing Courtney be happy with Travis, be content, enjoy life. I feel like maybe now this is Scott's time to have it, because I believe that he can have it for himself. Just because it didn't work out with Courtney doesn't mean that he has to live a life of, sadness. He can find it with somebody else. And let's hope that it's Kim Stewart, because I don't want to be talking about Scott and his girlfriends any longer. But another reason that Scott was in the news this week, and this is actually very, very serious. He got into a car accident earlier this week. He flipped his car. I don't know if you all were able to see the photos, but according to Page Six, the car was flipped due to high speed. It was a 1-car accident, so no other cars were involved. The car looks totaled. But Scott walked away with just some scratches, and he refused medical attention, which, the commenters online, obviously that raises some red flags as to why he would refuse medical attention. I'm not going to assume anything when it comes to that, but nobody in the family has commented publicly on they will. But if you were Courtney in this situation, what do you say to Scott?
I mean, it's like, yeah, I don't think we need to necessarily comment publicly, but if I'm Courtney and this is the father of my children, like, I would want to have a real conversation, because it's one thing if the kids are in the car and you're driving at these high enough speeds where you're flipping a car. And even if he were to say, oh, I would never drive like this when the kids are in the car, I don't want you flipping your car, potentially getting injured or dying. We hear a lot of these cars flipping and people dying on the side of the road. My friend had a really shocking experience this past week in Joshua Tree where there was a one car accident. It flipped and the guy was unable to survive. I would be like, do not leave me on this earth being a single parent to our children. Like I would have like a strict mother son like conversation with my ex because I'm like, this is ridiculous. You're a grown man. Don't do this.
No, yeah, that's really scary. I think I don't know. I would think about my kids losing their dad and having to go through that and like walk them through that grieving. I'm going to have to grieve the family. Like, Scott, don't put us all like, in danger of going through that as well as you putting yourself at risk. So yeah, and I think it's concerning. Like, we're obviously not touching on, or speculating on what we think, why he, didn't want to get didn't want to get examined or whatever. But that's also concerning too of like what's going on. Like, are you okay? Because that could bleed into other things of not just like a car situation, getting behind a car, but like, yeah, other things in his life. So
I think, at the end of the day with Scott, so many people just want him to be happy. And it seems like he's trying to find happiness in a lot of things that don't leave him happy. And I mean, I know that driving an SUV Lamborghini at however fast he was going is not where somebody's going to find happiness, but it also is giving him something, right? Like racing through the streets is making him feel some type of way because not a lot of 40-year-olds do that, when you have 3 children at home. So I'm just still continuing to hope for the best for Scott. I really hope that this accident, it could have been so much worse. We're so thankful that it wasn't, but he starts to maybe make some better decisions. Get a minivan with Kim Stewart and only go 45 miles an hour and we will be fine. Okay.
yes.
To wrap things up, the whole family stepped out for the Kylie Cosmetics launch party this week. Anytime we see all the sisters together, it's such a fun time. In an interview with Kylie talked about how she used her love for makeup as a positive outlet for feeling insecure about herself in the past. She said, I think it was the core of my obsession with makeup and that she loved the self-expression behind it and the creativity. I mean, it's no question that she has built an empire on Kylie Cosmetics. But fun fact, I've never purchased a Kylie Cosmetics product. So if anybody has some recommendation, I would love to hear them. Allison, you're our only hope.
I will say my exposure to Kylie Cosmetics is mostly through my friend. She loves makeup and has it all set up gorgeously. So when I go over to her place, I feel like I'm just kind of like shopping around and using little samples of things. But I've used her lip products. Her glosses are great. I love a good gloss. And I feel like for a while we were all into like the matte lip. And then she's also now had these glosses. But I'm really intrigued by the kind of like skincare that she's getting into. It feels like it's a lot more like natural and like her lip oils and stuff. Like it just feels like it's a much more like dewy, natural look. She also just has like her makeup wipes I've heard smell really, really good. I think she's very into like scents and making sure it's all very cohesive. I mean, we've seen her just like expand into like Kylie Baby. Like it's all about branding and she's a genius at it. So, I mean, every time I see any content from the Kylie office or anything on her YouTube channel, it's just so much fun. Like the Drunk Get Ready With Me video with Chloe where they do the birthday collection and they just like drink a ton of shots of tequila and like they're FaceTiming people and Corey shows up. I'm like, I want to join the party. And she's done such a good job creating a brand that makes people want it and want to quote unquote hang out with her and be like her, whether it's through eyeshadow or skincare or baby products.
Yeah, I think for me, like the fact that she, opened up about starting this was all because of she had an insecurity and she used makeup to kind of help her through that is so amazing because it gives people encouragement that like you can use something that you had that maybe was your weakness for your strength. And I just find that so encouraging, so inspiring. And I've always really respected Kylie, like what Allison was saying, like respected how she's used this as a business and it's been like super legit. And she's very like, I don't know, she's just so respected in it because the products are so good. But yeah, I'm just stuck on the fact that, yeah, she used something that maybe was her weakness and it's been such a strength for her. And she's helping other people maybe like, overcome their insecurity if makeup is their thing or skincare is their thing. Yeah, so I love that. I love that story so much.
Yeah, this shared news panel not sponsored by Kylie Cosmetics. Just gonna throw that out there, but we love to
if
give
she
credit.
wants to,
Yeah,
We're open.
Absolutely,
We're here.
Bring it on. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us again while we break down all the Kardashian headlines this week. Please feel free to leave a comment, any opinion you have on Scott and his dating life, on Kylie Cosmetics, who you want to see Kim with. We love to hear from you. And before you head out, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you never miss out on any updates. As always, I'm your host, Morgan Wright, joined by Allison Van Dam and Kayla Thompson. You can come say hi to us on our social media pages. Our handles are on the screen right now. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye.